Hey guys, wanted to bring you another video of A Football's Life on Warren Moon. Tonight's episode was aired tonight on NFL Network, and wanted to give you my thoughts and some of the interesting facts that I learned. So Warren Moon had to pretty much grow up at an early age because his dad died at the age of 7 in LA. That's where he grew up. So he had to learn how to be like the man of the house. He didn't really have a childhood because of that, and was very mature for his age. And um, most people, his nickname was actually Papa. So he also listened to like classical music because of the way his dad brought him up, well-rounded as a child and everything. Um, was probably beyond his age, and I could give you more examples of his time. He would carry a briefcase to school. The other thing is that uh, he was known as a really good baker too. So his thing was that when he finished high school, he was recruited by Arizona, but the Arizona already had two um, white quarterbacks that they already recruited. So they wanted him to play defensive back, and he didn't want to change positions. He thought he was born and made to play quarterback. So what he did was he rejected them and said that I'm going to go to Arizona, or not Arizona, sorry, Community College of LA for 2 years and hope that some big college will recognize what he could do at the college level. But he was working part time when he was playing for Community College of LA, and he was working with the video library. And what he would do was send out his video to various schools and have them check out his video, have it returned to his house, and he would return the video back to the library. Um, and there's one school that caught his eye was Washington. Washington really loved him, so they brought him up after his first year at CCLA, and pretty much that's where he lives right now in Seattle area. And as you know, he's a broadcaster there. But he went there and he beat out a white quarterback at Washington, so he won the job fair and square there. But the fans and the students did not like the decision. But once he started winning, things kind of changed. And the other thing is that in the 70s, most of the time, black quarterbacks were frowned upon on, but you could play any position if you wanted to, but not quarterback because there was this typical stereotype at the 70s that they thought, oh, black quarterbacks are not smart enough to play that position. Um, and so that's an example of how he was way um, ahead of his time because he was one of the few college quarterbacks that was already playing at that high position. Um, so nobody wanted to take a chance on him on the draft. So what he did was the coach at Edmonton Eskimos said you could be our starting quarterback if you're willing to go CFL route and forgone your NFL draft, which he did 6 weeks prior to the draft. So it might have been a blessing in disguise because he was not going to probably get drafted um, in the NFL to get started right away. So he goes to CFL, wins 5 championships there, go back to the Oilers, sign a contract for $6 million. Oilers signed him as a free agent because pretty much he was gone for a while, and so he could come back as a free agent. Um, and one of the interesting things I thought was interesting, what he talked about was that his nails, what he thought he had to have his nails even. He was very precise with his nails. When you could watch the video, you'll hear, or even if you watch old videos of him, you can hear a nice spiral come out of his hand like every time perfect. Um, if you didn't hear that sound, you could tell that he didn't throw it very well. But he credits it to his nails and his fingers. So that's one thing. It just sounded like it's ripping the laces every time, which I thought was interesting. How particular and how detail oriented he was with his nails and his hands. Now, by the time he was at the end of his career, which was interesting, GM of the Oilers was grooming this quarterback named Cody Carlson and thought he was the future of the NFL for him, the team. Because Warren Moon was already like 34, 35, and they wanted to move on. So he goes sign with the Minnesota Vikings from the trade. And the thing is that before he left, he told the GM of the Oilers and the staff that he's going to last longer than Cody Carlson, um, which pretty much he was not. He was trying to show that he had a lot left to play. Um, so I thought that was interesting. And when he arrived to the Minnesota Vikings, he was the first black quarterback to play for a first black uh, head coach, which was Dennis Green. So I thought that was an interesting stat. And I guess most of you guys knew he bounced around after that. He was at Seattle and then for 2 years, and then also with um, the Kansas City Chiefs for 1 year, I believe, as a backup. But he played until the age of 42 or 43, I believe, 4 decades, pretty much. Um, but one other thing I didn't realize, I guess it's been so long, which didn't make sense. They brought up the case where his maid contacted the police department because he was not known to raise his voice for the 8 years that the maid worked for him. So the two had an argument, him and his wife. And I guess during the trial, it said that Warren choked her to calm her down, which didn't make sense because isn't that considered assault? And I was surprised there was a not guilty verdict. So not sure if you guys could comment and kind of clarify what happened there, but I would assume that's considered assault. Their marriage didn't last, but they stayed and remained friends. Him and he got remarried, had a kid, had 4 kids with his previous wife, Felicia, but they're good friends still. Other than that, I thought it was a solid documentary. Some interesting information about how he was a professional and the journey he had to go through. I would say this is a must watch to learn more about the pioneering history of um, African American quarterbacks and what they had to go through. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. Thanks, and until then.